Okay, so let's recite together. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the sublime, the victorious, the totally self-enlightened one. Okay, so welcome everyone. Today we are going to continue with the study of the 24 conditions by looking at the Paccayaniddesa. Last time we have already finished 20 of the 24 conditions, so we only have 4 left. So definitely today we are going to finish with all of them. And then if time allows, we are going to make a little summary of all the 24 and just to refresh our memory of what they are that we have been studying in this last few months. Okay, so today we are going to start with the 21st condition, which is called the Atthi Paccayo, presence condition. Now, this condition, it will be quite easy for you to understand because it talks about the different ultimate realities that we have already seen previously. As we have studied before, we understand that in ultimate reality, everything being conditioned, besides Nibbana. So everything is being conditioned by other things. And what we are looking at, these 24 conditions, are how they are related to each other. How this thing and another thing, this ultimate reality and the other ultimate reality, they are how one can condition another or how another can be conditioned by another, no? And so this Atthi Paccayo is the Paccaya which is the way of how these ultimate realities are related. So in this case, Atthi Paccayo is called the presence condition. So that means the Paccaya must be present in order to support the Paccayupanna. In order to condition the Paccayupanna, the Paccaya must be present at the same time as the Paccayupanna. So both of them must be present at the same time, right? So it is also compared as to the oxygen for the diver. As long as the diver in his tank, there are still air, he can still continue to dive. But when there is no more air, then he cannot dive anymore. No, so no more presence of air, then he must come up to the surface. So in the same way, the Paccaya must be present at the same time as the Paccayupanna. It is also compared by ancient teachers to the earth. So as long as the earth exists, then human and animals, trees, and other things can survive on this earth, right? So this earth serves as a support for our existence. So without the presence of the earth, then we cannot be, right? So in this case, the Atthi condition is the presence, right? So the conditioning state must be present along with those that are being conditioned. Okay, so in this group, in this Atthi Paccayo, it is also divided into a few different subgroups. So we are going to look at them. Let's see the Paccaya and the Paccayupanna. What kind of ultimate reality are included in these different kind of groups? Okay, the first one is the Sahajata Atthi. So if you remember, Sahajata, Saha means together and Jata means to be born, not to exist, to born. So Sahajata means born together and as well as present. So that means in this group, the Paccaya and the Paccayupanna, they both arise at the same time and they are present at the same time. Okay, so let's go to the Paccayaniddesa, the first verse, and see what kind of ultimate reality are related in this way, Sahajata Atthi. So it says, Chataro kanda arupino anyamanya Atthi Paccayena Paccayo. So Chataro kanda arupino, the 4 immaterial aggregates, which I think you remember, Vijnana, Vedana, Sanya, and Sankhara. Sankhara includes all other cetasikas, right? So the 4 Chataro Kanda Arupino, the four immaterial aggregates, Anya Manya, mutually, they are mutually conditioned by the Sahajata Atthi. So bond together and presence. So that means that Chitta, if we take Chitta to be the Paccaya here, then all other Cetasikas will be the Paccayapana. So bond together at the same time, they arise together at the same time, and they are mutually related to each other by way of presence condition. Now, in the same way, like other conditions, when there is mutually, then we understand that if we take, say, Vedana to be the Paccaya, then the Vijnana and the other Cetasikas will be the Paccayapana. No? So they are both side, right? Well, if we take Sanya to be the Paccaya, then the Paccayapana will be Chitta and other Cetasikas as well. And if we take, let's say, two, Chitta as well as Vedana to be the Paccaya, then the other two immaterial aggregates, then they will be the Paccayapana. So they are interchangeable because they are mutually, right? So one condition the other in both ways, right? Okay, so this is the first verse of the Paccayaniddesa. Chataro Kanda Arupino, the four non-material aggregates, they're mutually related to each other by the presence conditioned, and they are Sahajata as well. They belong to the Sahajata group. So let's see what other ultimate reality belong to this group. Chataro Mahabhuta Anya Manya Atthi Paccayena Paccayo. So we have just seen the mind, Chitta and Cetasika. Then in the same way, Metta also, the four great elements, the Mahabhuta, earth element, water element, fire element, and wind element, these four, they also relate to each other mutually by way of presence condition. So when earth element is present, then water, fire, and wind will also be present. And when water is present, then earth, fire, and wind will also be present. And in the same way, we can take one or two or three as the Paccaya, and they can flip place, no, because they condition each other mutually, right? And they are also Sahajata. When they arise, when Metta arise, these four great elements must also arise all together at the same time, right? So therefore, they also belong to this group, Sahajata Atthi. Okay, so another one. Okantikane nama rupam anyamanya Atthi Paccayena Paccayo. So if you remember, Okantikane means at the time of Patisandhi, at the time of rebirth, nama rupa anyamanya. Nama rupa. Now, if you remember, together with the Patisandhi Chitta, which is a Vipaka Chitta, and its associated Cetasika, three groups of matter arise together. So the body decade, the gender decade, and heart decade. Now we're talking about the five aggregate beings. Now let's take human being as an example, right? So in this case, these three these three types of matter, it arises together at the same time, Sahajata, together with the Patisandhi. And precisely, we will take the heart base, the heart decade, to be Anya Manya together with this Vipaka Chitta, with the Patisandhi Chitta. Because the Vipaka Chitta conditioned the Vipaka Chitta conditioned all the three decades that arise together by way of presence, by way of Atthi condition, right? But if it is Anya Manya, if it is mentioning here mutually, then we only take heart decade here, because the heart decade also conditioned this Patisandhi to arise. But the gender decade and the body decade, they do not condition the Patisandhi Chitta. So therefore, when we see this Nama Rupa Anya Manya during the time of rebirth, we take only here the heart decade. So that means the Patisandhi Chitta and the heart decade, in this case, they arise together at the same time, and they must be present at the same time in order to condition each other, no? By way of this presence like this. This also falls into the group of the Sahajata Atthi. So bond together and presence. Okay, let's see if there are anything else that are in this group. Okay, now we see. Chitta Cetasika Dhamma Chitta samutananam rupanam Atthi Paccayena Paccayo. So the Paccaya here, Chitta Cettasika Dhamma. So that means Chitta and this associated Cettasika. How about the Paccayupana? Chitta samutananam rupanam. That means those rupa that arise depending on chitta. So that's chittaja rupa, right? Chitta produced metta. And this is also conditioned. So this chittaja rupa is conditioned by the chitta itself. Of course, if the chitta is not there, then it cannot produce chittaja rupa. That's very obvious, no? So that's why they are also included in this sahajata Atthi group. But we have to understand that in this chitta cettasika dhamma, although it's not specified here, we need to know that we're only referring to the 75 chittas that produce rupa. Because remember, there are some kind of chitta that does not produce rupa at all, right? Remember, for example, the Dvipancha Vijnana, the two folds, five sense consciousness, eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose, etc. The five senses, vipaka chitta, kusala vipaka or akusala vipaka, they do not produce any kind of metta, any kind of chittaja rupa, right? And also the four arupa vipaka chitta, the four immaterial resultant, since they are immaterial, resultant of immaterial, so they also do not produce chittaja rupa. Yeah? Okay, so here the Paccaya, we take the 75 chitta that produce rupa, and it conditioned chittaja rupa by way of presence. It must be there in order to condition or to support the chittaja rupa to arise. Yeah. Okay, so far, all good. Let's go to another one. Mahabhuta upada rupanam Atthi Paccayena Paccayo. Okay, so Paccaya, Mahabhuta, the four great elements. Upada rupanam. Upada rupa is translated as the dependent matter. So if you remember, when we studied the chapter of metta, of material properties, we studied that the four great elements, or in any kind of kalapa, any kind of metta, these four great elements must always be there. And also, depending on what kind of kalapa it is, what kind of metta, then some other different material properties also arise together, right? For example, if it is an eye sensitivity, then there will be eye too. Yeah, well, there will be jivitindriya because there is life also, right? Then it also have the color, smell, taste also, no? So like the eight inseparable is the smallest one. And then there are, depending on what kind of metta, then there will be different combination. But here we have to understand that the four Mahabhuta is very important. They serve as a support for all other dependent metta. So therefore here, the four great element is the Paccaya, is the conditioning state. It conditioned all other dependent matter by way of its presence. If they are not there, then these other dependent matter cannot arise. So it must be present for other dependent matter to arise. Therefore, it is also included in the Atthi group, and as well as Sahajata, because when they arise together. Yeah. Okay. So that's another one. Now let's see. Until here, we have finished with the Sahajata Atthi group. Now we will go to another group. But until here, all good? No question? Quite easy to understand. Yeah. Okay. Let's go to the next. Yes, Edith?
Sorry. You mentioned in the beginning about the Atthi condition that something has to be present in order to the other thing to arise.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, how is that true for things that arise together, born together, or born together?
Yes. Now, so you may say that what is the difference between born together and being present, right? So if they are born together, then they arise together at the same time, right? But in this condition, it further tells us that besides borning together, it must still be there when the other ones exist. So it must be it must still be there in order to become a support. It must be Atthi, because they can arise together and it exists for some time, and then maybe it passes away first. Yeah, then in that case, then it cannot support it anymore because it's passed it away. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
So that's why they must arise together and be there and be present at the same time. Now, when you are talking about like how can something be present there before in order to support something, it is this group that we are going to talk about. It's called Purejata Atthi. That's the born earlier and being present. So something that must be there already in order for something else to arise. The other one, they arise together, but it still need to exist in order to be a support.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So therefore, they are divided into different groups because they have a different way. They arise at a different time. Okay. So let's continue, and we'll see this one. Then it will become very clear. The Pure Jata Ati group. Pure means earlier, before. Jata, born. So Pure Jata, something that has born earlier, that has already exist. The Paccaya already exists before the Paccayapana can arise. So let's see what are they. For example, Chakayatanam chaku vinyana daduya tam sampirtakanam cha dhammanam ati Paccayena Paccayo. So Chakayatanam is the Paccaya here. So what is Chakayatanam? The Pasada Rupa itself, no? The eye base, right? Eye base. So Pasada Rupa, the sensitive matter must already be there in order for which Paccayapana to arise? Chaku Vinyana Dadu. So eye consciousness, the two types of eye consciousness, kusala vipaka or akusala vipaka, tam sampayutakanam cha dhammanam. To end is associated states, the cetasika that arise together. It's being supported by the presence of the pasada rupa that is already there. Right? If there is no eye sensitivity, then there is no chance for eye consciousness to arise. Right? So eye sensitivity, this metta must already be there. It is already there before eye consciousness can arise. So in this case, they do not bond together. The eye consciousness, the eye sensitivity, that this eye consciousness become the base of this eye consciousness, that this eye consciousness depend on, they do not arise at the same time. Right? This eye consciousness must depend, you remember each type of chitta must have a base, right? So eye consciousness have eye base. Eye base is eye sensitivity. And this eye sensitivity is already there before eye consciousness arise, because metta are strongest when they are in the presence period, no, not in the arising time. Remember, everything, chitta as well as metta, they have three periods of existence: arising, existing, and ceasing. Yeah. So for chitta, the arising moment is strong. Yeah. But for metta, the existing moment is stronger. So they arise, and when they exist, they are very strong, and then they fall away. So in order to support an eye consciousness, the metta must be in a state that it is strongest. So therefore, it becomes the base of the eye consciousness when it is in its existence stage. So therefore, it must already be there before the eye consciousness arise, right? If they arise together at the same time, this eye base is not strong enough to support the eye consciousness. So therefore, they do not arise at the same time for this case, no, for the senses. So therefore, this pasada rupa, it's already there. It born earlier, but it must not pass away before the eye consciousness arise. Otherwise, it cannot support it as a base. Yeah. So therefore, here is Pure Jata Ati. It must bond together, and it must still be present when the eye consciousness arise, in order to be a condition, right? In order to help him to support it as a base, right? So therefore, Ati, in this way, it must be still present. So we are talking about the presence condition. Okay, so if we understand the eye, then we can understand all the other senses in the same way. The next verse goes Sotayatanam Sota Vinyana Daduya Tam Sampayutakanam Cha Dhammanam Ati Paccayena Paccayo. So Sotayatanam, the ear base, the ear sensitivity that is located inside our ear, inside the inner ear, which has already arisen, served as a support, and it conditioned the Sota Vijnana Dhatu, the two kinds of ear consciousness, together with its associated Cetasika, by way of Atthi, by way of presence condition. Okay, so in the same way, Gandayatanam Ganda Vijnana Dhaduya Tam Sapyutakanam Cha Dhammanam Ati Paccayena Paccayo. So nose sensitivity, this pasada rupa, must already be there in order to support the group, the two kinds of Ganda Vijnana nose consciousness together with its Cetasika. Yeah, so it is included in the Purejata, born earlier, and presence condition. Okay, in the same way, Jiva. Jiva yatanam, Jiva Vijnana Dhaduya, Tam Sampayutakanam Cha Dhammanam, Ati Paccayena Paccayo. Sorry. So the tongue sensitivity, pasada rupa, must already be there in order to support the tongue consciousness, the two types of tongue consciousness, kusala vipaka or akusala vipaka, when we taste something that is agreeable or when we taste something that is not agreeable, the two types of different tongue consciousness together with its associated cetasika. Is being conditioned by the presence of the pasada rupa. So without tongue sensitivity, we cannot taste. The taste consciousness cannot arise. Okay, in the same way, Kaya yatanam kaya vijnana dhaduya tam sampayutakanam cha dhammanam ati paccayena paccayo. So kaya yatanam, the body base, pasada rupa, must already be there in order to condition the kaya vijnana dhatu, the two types of body consciousness together with its associated cetasika. They are conditioned, they are related to each other by way of presence conditioned, and they are included in the group of Purejata, born earlier. Okay, so this we can understand. Okay, so something else here. Now, yes, Sanda?
Yes, as I understood, you said that when there are two types, kusala and akusala, and you said about pleasant and unpleasant. But being pleasant and unpleasant is pleasant is kusala. I mean, there is something I don't.
Okay, I'll clarify. Remember, in the five sense consciousness, the five sense consciousness are all vipaka citta, right? They are resultant consciousness, resultant of a previous kusala or resultant of a previous akusala. Yeah, so they are wholesome resultant or unwholesome resultant. So let's say when in the example of, let's say, touch here, if we touch something very pleasant, like a pillow, very soft, and it is agreeable to the senses, it's comfortable. In that case, that would be this consciousness, this body consciousness is a resultant of a previous wholesome action that we have done. Remember? So that's why it is not kusala, but it is kusala vipaka. Important, vipaka, resultant. So of course, pleasant has nothing to do with kusala or akusala, because it is a result of what we have done previously. So whether it's pleasant or unpleasant, and depending on how we react to it now, then we create new karma, either now kusala or akusala. If we react to it with attachment, then kusala, then akusala. No, if we react to it with understanding, then it would be kusala in that case.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Sanda. Okay. It's good if you have any doubt or if anything is not clear, so please ask so we can clear out some doubts, and because it has been quite some time since we last have lessons, so sometimes we also need to get back to the rhythm, to the study, and so sometimes some things we might not remember, but it's okay, we can discuss and then we can remind each other. Okay, so let's continue with another Purejata Atthi. Now we have been talking about the 5 senses. Say eye sensitivity must be there in order for eye consciousness to arise. But only these 2 is not good enough, right? If there is an eye, we have eye. Only with that, eye consciousness also cannot arise. What else is missing? Anyone?
Object.
Exactly. Thank you. Right. So object is also very important. No, if there is eye sensitivity, but there is nothing to see, then eye consciousness also cannot arise. The eye consciousness must take an object, right? So in the same way, rupa yatanam is also important here. Rupa yatanam, rupa means visible object, right? Visible object, not the rupa material property. It's the same Pali word, but here it means visible object, something color that can be seen, something that we can see. Rupa yatanam, the visible object base, it's also a base, right? So it conditioned what? Chakku vinyana dadu. Tam sampayutakanam cha dhammanam. So 2 chakku vinyana and its associated cetasikas together. It is also included in they are also related to each other by way of the presence condition. So this object must also, again, it must already be present in order for the eye consciousness to take it as an object. Yeah. So we need 2 material property for eye consciousness to arise. We need the aramana, which is the object, and we need the base, the sensitivity. So it is very interesting here. Why do we even study the conditions? For what? What are the paccayas for? Why did the Buddha explain about this thing? Now, let's not forget that the Buddha explained about this to eradicate our ignorance, to eradicate our wrong view towards a self. We always think I see, yeah, I smell, I taste, and then I like it, and then I don't like it. Everything is about I, right? But the Buddha taught that all Dhamma arises not because of me, not because of I, not because I wanted to, not because of I or mine or me, I, me, mine. No, it is everything is being conditioned. They are all just cause and effect. Now, if we understand that for eye consciousness to arise, there must be an object, there must be an eye sensitivity, which we actually have no control, right? Eye sensitivity is a kamaja rupa. So it is a material property that is supported, that is produced by karma, by previous karma. Then there must also be something to be seen. So this material property outside, what are they? They are actually 8 kind. The thing that we can see, this rupa, this visibility of any object is only a material property, one of the 8 inseparable in any kind of uduja rupa, no? Outside things, let's say. Outside things, let's say a water bottle or something. So these are matter that is created by temperature, right? So with these 2, and then the eye with this the contact, with the contact also, then eye consciousness can arise. No? Eye consciousness, visible object, and the eye sensitivity. With these 3, contact arise and eye consciousness together with that phassa to the contact arise. So this is how seeing is actually happening in ultimate reality. So if we understand this, then we contemplate about this, then we can have less attachment to this self or to the idea of an I. No, I am doing this, I am smelling this, I am seeing this. No, but actually it's just a series of natural phenomena happening on its own. So the Buddha explained to us about this, the paccaya and the paccayupana, and then the paccayasati as well, no? The conditioning state, the conditioned state, and how these natural phenomena, how these natural states, how they are related to each other. And there is no space for an I there, right? So the whole purpose of the study of cause and effect of the Dhamma, and in this case, the Patthana, is to remind us and is to help us understand how there is non-self, how everything is happening by natural cause and effect. When there is cause, then there will be effect, and how things are conditioning one another and how they arise together because of different conditions. And so this is the right reason of how things arise. No, not the wrong reason would be because of me, because I want, because I like. No. So this is the purpose of the Patana study, to eradicate our wrong view little by little, so we can slowly see reality as it is, and this is vipassana. Yeah. Yes, Edith.
So how about our memories? When our memories, we are starting to see past events and things like that. So, I mean, they aren't resultants, right? That isn't a resultant.
That is not. When we are thinking, it is very active. They are actually a lot of jhavanas moments happening, because we are not seeing now. This seeing consciousness, it's physical. No, we are seeing with our eyes. But when we see something with the mind is actually thinking. It has nothing to do with the vipaka citta at all, because there is no vipaka citta that is called a mind consciousness or something like that, no memory consciousness, nothing like that. So when we remember something, or when we cling to some kind of memory, oh, it was so nice, my mother cooked this food, or this and that, those memories, we are actually actively thinking about it. Whether we are aware or whether we are not aware of it, the mind is doing this actively. So they are all jhavana. It can be kusala citta, it can be akusala as well. If we take this object, like say a past memory, this is a mind object, right? We take this memory and then we attach to it. Oh, my mother was so nice and melancholic and like that. Then we have attachment, and it is akusala citta. It is together with attachment. But let's say if we have gratitude, we take the same object with, oh, my mother is so nice, I'm so thankful to her because she took care of me, and then she make this for me and this for me, I'm so grateful. And with that will be a kusala citta. Yeah. So whenever we are thinking, it is never a vipaka. So we cannot blame that, oh, I'm again thinking about this bad memory. Oh, that is because my vipaka, like it is because past karma. I did past karma, like a bad thing before. So now this bad ideas, bad memory comes up to my mind because this is a result. No, not at all. It is active. It is kusala or akusala. So this is actually also a very good news. No, that means we are in control. We can choose how we think, right? If it is a vipaka, we cannot choose. Yeah. If we see some unpleasant sight, okay, this chakra viññāna, it is akusala vipaka. So there is no choice. No, we cannot not see, make me didn't see this, so it is not possible. This is an akusala vipaka. There's no choice. But whether we think good or whether we think bad, this is our own doing. This is our present karma. So we have total control of it. And of course, it depends on our practice, right? Although I say we have total control, but without practice, the tendency is so strong that we have been practicing akusala for so many lifetimes. So the tendency is very strong. Then it is upaniseya also. Remember when we studied the upaniseya paccaya, the strong decisive support, at that time, we understand that if we have the habit of doing akusala all the time, then this akusala supports conditioned other akusala to arise, right? It is very strong. It can be a supportive condition, right? So but also this akusala can also be a supportive condition for kusala to arise if we take it in the right way with yoniso manasikara, no? With wise attention and with practice, and also it can become an aramana that we take with panya, with wisdom. Then we can look at things and as it is, and understand and grow in wisdom also, right? Okay, so Edith, anything else?
No, it just seems that sometimes even like when like a proper resultant thing, like you see something and that triggers a memory. So I mean that's why I've been asking this. But yes, I get it, and I know that it's not vipaka. Thank you.
Yes, it does. Like if we see something, it triggers a memory because of sanya. right? We have perception. We have seen this thing before, and then we relate to it. We think the mind is actually really thinking. We think about that, and then then those memory arise, and we start thinking about that thing, and so on and so on. No, so it is very clear that this is not vipaka, because everybody, according to their own experience, when they see the same flower, they think about something different. If it is a vipaka, if it is something that is must be, then everyone must feel the same thing. No, everyone see this, must think the same way. No, but obviously we don't. So that means that it does not depend on the object. It depends on the person in this world, the mind. No, the mind thinks about things differently. No.
Thank you. This was so profound, what you just said about how we make it personal, subjective, actually. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so this is how nature works, and it is very interesting. And it is having this knowledge of the Abhidhamma is very helpful, because it helps us reflect on our daily experience, and everything can become meditation. Everything can become Dhamma. No, as my meditation teacher, he always said, we, especially lay people, we do not have the luxury to live in a retreat. So what do? We make our life a retreat, right? Life is your own retreat. Your home is your retreat. So make that, live as if you are living in a monastery or in the meditation center. No, so in the meditation center, what do you observe? 6 objects, right? And at home, what do you observe? Same 6 objects. The teacher said there is no difference in terms of how you have to practice. But of course, supporting environment is different now. Like in the meditation center, because of all the support of all the volunteers or people, workers, we don't have to cook, we don't have to do anything else, and we don't have to worry about anything. We just practice. But in daily life, we have to do many other things. But my teacher, he also said that the meditation center is only a training camp. It's like if we want to train to become a boxer, so the training camp, we go and then we train. So there we are protected, and then we don't do anything else. We just train, right? But the real competition is in daily life. We can only. My teacher said, real life need real wisdom. So we cannot have some kind of intellectual understanding and say, oh, I understand the Dhamma, and I am not attached, and I'm not angry. Of course, in the meditation center, no one makes me angry. No, I have nothing to be attached to it. It's not my home. It's not my bed. It's not my pillow, right? So it's so different. But in real life situation, I have my family, I have the food I like, I can eat anytime I want, and I can be demanding. I don't like this food, I want that one. In meditation center, we cannot do all that, right? So in real life, real situation, it is the time that we need real wisdom. No, the things that we learned from the meditation center, now we put it into practice in real life. Those situations are real, and if we can manage to gain wisdom in those situations, then those wisdom are much stronger than those that can be gained in, let's say, a protected environment, because we can really make use of it. No, so yeah, I have to remind myself as well. So let's all make our life our retreat, and we try to practice at every moment whenever possible. Life is too short. We cannot wait until our next retreat, or we cannot wait until I don't know when. So we can actually, literally, we can die any moment, right? Now or tomorrow, we don't know. Although we never think that we're going to die tomorrow, no, honestly. Anyone here thinks you'll die tomorrow? Not really, right? We don't think, yeah. I hope not. I'm not saying that it will happen, but it might happen, right? So we should try as much as possible that this life we have the fortune to meet the Dhamma, to learn the Abhidhamma, and then we have this interest. Also, it is important we have the interest and we want to practice. And the next life is no guarantee. No, we don't know what we have done in our previous lives. We don't, until we attained Sotapatti Magga and Phala, there is no guarantee that we will not go to the woeful state. When, if by chance that an akusala vipaka repent for our next life, then we will not know what kind of situation we will be in. If we still have this opportunity to meet good teachers, meet the Dhamma, and to practice, we don't know. So at this moment, being a human, which is rare, as the Buddha said, and then knowing the Dhamma is rare, having the interest is rare, and really practicing is also rare. So we need to try our best in this very life. All right. Okay, so let's go back to Purejata Atthi. So we have been talking about the condition that is the Paccaya. It exists already earlier, and it is still present while the Paccayapana is still present. No? So they are present at the same time in order to become a support, no, in this Atthi condition. Let's see, if we understand the object of eye consciousness, then we can understand for the other senses as well. So the Paccayaniddesa continued for the next sense. It goes Sadayatanam, so sound element, sound base. Sota Vinyana Daduya, the two kinds of ear consciousness. Tam Sampayutakanam Cha Dhammanam, the associated cetasikas. Ati Paccayena Paccayo, they are related to each other by way of the presence condition. So sound must be present for the Sota Vinyana to arise. Okay, the next one, Gandhayatanam, smell. Gandha Vinyana Daduya, Tam Sampayutakanam Cha Dhammanam, Ati Paccayena Paccayo. In the same way, so smell for nose consciousness. And then we have Rasayatanam, taste. Jiva Vinyana Daduya, tongue consciousness. Tam Sampayutakanam Cha Dhammanam, associated cetasikas. Ati Paccayena Paccayo. So they are related to each other by way of presence condition. And then again, Vottabhayatanam, this tangible object. Kaya Vinyana Daduya, Tam Sampayutakanam Cha Dhammanam, Ati Paccayena Paccayo. So this tangible object must already exist for the Kaya Vinyana, the body consciousness, to arise, right? So they are related to each other by way of Ati Paccaya, presence condition. Okay, so in general, Drupayatanam, Sadayatanam, Gandhayatanam, Rasayatanam, Pottabhayatanam. Okay, in this case, all kinds of different, the five sense objects, they are the Paccaya here. So how about the Paccayapana? Manodhatuya tam sampayutakanam cha dhammanam. Manodhatu. So this mind element, if you still remember, they are the Panchadvara Vajana Chitta, five sense averting consciousness, and the two receiving consciousness, Kusala Vipaka, Akusala Vipaka. Now these three kinds of consciousness are all together as a group named as Manodhatu, mind element. Yeah, together with Tam Sampayutakanam Cha Dhammanam, the associated cetasikas, they are also related to each other by way of Atthi Paccayo, presence conditioned. Now, if you remember the mental process, remember the eye consciousness will take the visible object as its object, but in the eye door mental process, there is not only eye consciousness. No, we still have other consciousness that also take the same object, right? So we have the five sense averting consciousness also take the same object, the receiving consciousness, and then also the determining consciousness, and then the Jhana also, they all take the same object, no? So therefore here, this five sense consciousness, now you may say then why only these three here? That's because for the five sense consciousness, the five sense door process, this manodhatu only arise in the five sense door mental process, right? Five door averting consciousness, like if we take a mind object, then it is not necessary to have five sense door, no? It will be mind door averting consciousness, no? Now, receiving consciousness also arise only with the five sense door mental process. So therefore, these two types, that is three manodhatu, they also take only the five sense object. They will not take the mind or object. No, so therefore here they are also related to these objects by way of the Atthi Paccaya. So these objects must also still be present when the mental process is going on. Right? If this, let's say if the object, let's say sound, if the sound arises and it already passes away, then the after the ear consciousness, then the receiving and the jhana and everything, they cannot take it. No, it is not possible. It must still exist throughout the 17 moments, throughout the mind door process. It must not fall passed away in order for the mind to take it through the whole process, right? So all these chittas, these 17 mind moments, they take in the same mind door, five sense door process, they take the same object. So this object must already be there and must still be present in order for this mind door process to successfully complete, right? So therefore, it is also included in the Atthi, in the presence condition. So they are there. They must be present. They must be present in order for these other types of mind door. Manodhatu, sorry, mind element for these chittas to take them as its object. No, so it must be there. Okay. Then how about the other ones? Okay, let's say Yam rupam niseya manodhatu cha manoviññānadhatu cha vatanti. Now here it says yam rupam. So yam rupam here, it does not specifically state which rupa. It just says that rupa, that specific rupa. And ancient teachers explains that it is this yam rupam refers to the hadaya vatu, the heart base. Now, if the heart base is the Paccaya, what is the Paccayuppana? The Paccayuppana here is the Manodhatu cha manoviññānadhatu cha vatanti. So Manodhatu is the mind element, the three chittas that we just seen, and manoviññānadhatu are all the other types of chittas besides these three. So Manodhatu as well as manoviññānadhatu, that means all the chittas except the five sense consciousness, no, except the Dvi Pancha Vijnana, they all depend on the heart base to arise, right? So therefore, heart base must also be already existing and still be present in order to become the base for these other kind of chittas to arise, right? Now, eye consciousness have eye base, ear consciousness have ear base, and also therefore these 10 kinds of five sense consciousness are not included here. So besides this 10 kind of five sense consciousness, all the other chitta, they are based on heart base. So this heart base must exist, must be present in order to be a condition for this chitta to arise, right? So heart base here is important. Now it continues. Tam rupam manodhatu ya cha manoviññānadhatu ya cha tam sampayutakanam cha dhammanam Atthi Paccayena Paccayo. So this rupa, right? The heart base, manodhatu cha manoviññānadhatu cha tam sampayutakanam cha dhammanam. So this chitta as well as its associated cetasikas, they are related to each other by way of a presence condition. Okay, so until here, we have finished all the Purejata group. So the born earlier as well as present, being present. So this group is finished, and we are going to the next group, which is called the Paccayajata group. Now, Paccayajata is born later. So the Paccaya actually arises after the Paccayuppana. But it is still present, being present when the Paccayuppana is there in the Atthi group. Now, this Paccayajata Atthi, in the Paccayaniddesa, there is no any special verses explaining about this relation, but we can understand that this is also included in the Atthi group in the presence, because remember when we studied the Paccayajata Paccayo, the condition that born later that supports the Paccayuppana, that there are some material property in the body as being supported by those chittas and cetasika that arise later, Remember that kind of relationship. So those chitta and cetasika supports the body that are already here. So paccaya here are chitta and cetasika that arise later, and what is being supported is the body that are already here. This material property that are already here, right? Sometimes remember, if we are very busy and we are very excited about something, now we're going to meet a friend that we haven't seen for a long time, we're very excited and we forget to eat. We're not even hungry, forget to eat. So this chitta and cetasika that arise at this moment supports this kind of the how do you call it? The yearning to see a friend, or those kind of chittas, it actually supports the body that is already here. Even if we are not eating, that we do not die, no. But because this chitta, it is supporting, it serve as a support for the rupa that already exists before this chitta arise. So they are in this kind of relationship. Now this matter, the matter that is inside the body that can be supported by these chittas can be of any of the four types. Can be produced by chitta itself, can be produced by udu, can be produced by kama, can be produced by a nutriment as well. So it produce this later, the chitta and cettasika that arise later support the body that is already here. So this is included in the Paccayata Atthi group. Okay, so there is another one that is another relationship that is also not specified in the Paccayaniddesa, but we can also understand that is the ahara ati. So that means nutriment. Now this means the eatable food. Eatable food is related to this present body by way of presence, right? Because if there is no food, no nutriment, then the body, if food is not present, then the body cannot be nurtured by it. Now, very obviously, we must eat something in order, this nutriment must be there in order for the body to get this nutriment. So external oja, this external nutriment that exists in food, any eatable food that exists there must be present in order to support the body, that any kind of material property in the body that is being produced by either chitta, kama, by other kind of nutriment, and udu also. So food is related also to the body by presence condition. It must be present for it to be a support, right? Okay, so that is also another one that is we need to understand, ahara ati. And then there is also another one. It is called the indriya ati. Now, indriya ati, here we take the jivitindriya, the physical life faculty. So physical life faculty is related to kamaja rupa by way of presence conditions as well, as an indriya, as a faculty, no? So kamaja rupa, all the klapas, all the rupa that is being produced by kama, that is, let's say, taking human being as an example, then all this rupa that is being produced by kama must always include jivitindriya, no? It always have jivitindriya as a life faculty, because kama produced matter always produced life faculty. Let's say udu produced, temperature produced material property that is in our body. It does not include life faculty. So life faculty is only produced by kama, right? So therefore, this kamaja rupa cannot exist without life faculty. So it is also related to each other by way of presence. So life faculty must be present in order to support for kamaja rupa. So life faculty conditioned kamaja rupa by way of presence condition. Okay, so this indriya ati, ahara ati, and also the paccayata ati, They are not included in the Paccayaniddesa, but you can find this in the Patana books itself, in the Kusalatika, in the Panyawara. It is mentioned that food and this Jivitindriya, and also they are also separately under the presence condition, under the Atthi condition. Okay, so until here we have finished with the Atthi Paccayo, so presence condition. Now the next one is the opposite of Atthi. So that is the Natthi Paccayo, absence condition. So this is the exact opposite. So one is present and this one is absent condition. So in this case, the Paccaya must be absent at the time when the Paccayopana arises. Right? So if it does not go, if it is not absent, the Paccayopana cannot arise. It is in this kind of relationship. Okay, so why don't we take a short break, 5 minutes, and then we will come back with the Natthi Paccayo. Okay, I'll see you in 5 minutes. So let's continue a little bit more. And these coming 3 conditions, the 22nd, 23rd, and the last one, 24th, they are actually quite similar and easy to understand. So I'm quite sure that we will be able to finish them. So let's continue with Natthi. So we have been saying that Natthi is the direct opposite of the Atthi. So present and now absent. So absence condition. So let's see the example given by ancient teacher. Now this condition is compared to a flame that has ceased, that has blown out. When the flame is blown out, then there is darkness, right? The flame must go out in order for darkness to arise, right? So if as long as there is still the flame is still there, then there will be no darkness. Yeah. Now, when the flame it's blown out, then darkness will prevail. So in the same way, something must be absent. No flame, no light, so must be an absence in order for something to arise. Now this one actually, it refers to the mental process. So let's see the verse in the Paccayaniddesa. Samanantara niruddha citta cittasika dhamma patupananam citta cittasikanam dhammanam nati paccayena paccayo. Samanantara niruddha citta cittasika dhamma. So that means those citta and cittasika that had just ceased, ceased earlier. Now, they are the paccaya for the paccayopana. What are the paccayopana? The patupananam citta cittasikanam dhammanam. Those citta and cittasika that arise after this citta and cittasika that has ceased previously. They are related to each other by way of absence condition. Now when we study the mental process, we understand that this mind, that what we call it I, me, myself, and then this mind, my thinking, well, what we call this mind is actually a flow of consciousness that arise one after the other. So one consciousness exists, passes away immediately without any gap in between. Another citta arises and exists and then passes away. And as such, billions of minds, of cittas, of different vijnanas, cittas arise one after the other. So there is no moment that there are 2 cittas that can exist together. There must always be only one citta, right? In a mental flow, there's only one citta at a time. So one citta must always cease, must be absent before another citta can arise, right? So therefore, here it says the previous citta that has ceased is related to the later citta that arise. The next one, the one that is, let's say, this bhavanga ceased, and then this next bhavanga that arise, they are related to each other by way of Natthi Paccayo, by way of absence condition. So this one must go absent for the next one to arise. Now let's take a look at the ultimate reality that is written in this Paccayaniddesa. So Samanantara, Niruddha Chitta and Chetasika. That means those Chitta and Chetasika, the preceding one, the one that ceased, that just ceased, is related to the following, immediately following Chitta and Chetasika that will arise just right after that one ceased. They are related to each other by way of absence. So if this does not go away, that's not absent, is not absent, is still present, then this one cannot arise. The following one cannot arise. But there is only one exception here. That is the Arahata Chuti Chitta. Because following the Arahata Chuti Chitta, there is nothing anymore, right? So no Chitta will arise after the Arahata Chuti Chitta. When an Arahat that has totally eradicated all kinds of defilements, then he has done all the holy life has been lived, all what needs to be done has been done. So this chitta will be the last chitta that arises and pass away. There will be nothing that follows. There will be no rebirth for an arahat, right? So therefore, even if it is absence, it does not condition any other chitta anymore. So therefore, in this condition, we include all chittas, all preceding chittas, except the Arahata Chuti Chitta. So in the Paccayaniddesa, for the absence, there's only this one verse here. And then with this, we have finished the absence condition. So what we need to understand here is very simple. We need to understand that if one chitta does not cease, another chitta cannot arise. That's the main point here. Okay? All right. So let's go to the next one. The number 23, that is called the Vigata Paccaya, disappearance condition. Now, some example is like in the absence of light, then darkness can arise, right? So disappearance condition, it is actually the same as the Natthi, no? It must be not there in order for something else to arise. So Paccaya must discontinue. It must not arise anymore in order for the Paccayuppana to arise. The ancient teacher also compare it to the sun at the night time. When the sun goes down, then there is darkness. Now, the disappearance of the sun make it possible for night to arise, no, for night or darkness to arise. So Vigata, in this way, also it must something must disappear in order for something else to arise. So here we can understand the verse is basically the same as the Natthi here. Samanantara Vigata Chitta Chittasika Dhamma Patupananam Chitta Chittasika Dhamma Vigata Paccayena Paccayo. So it is talking about the same thing, but in a different angle, different aspect, no? So it says that one chitta must disappeared in order for the following chitta to arise. So in the same way, we understand here the Paccaya to be the preceding chitta and Chetasika, and the Paccayuppana to be the following chitta and Chetasika, except Arahata Chuti, in the same way. Now, if it is basically the same, why is it two different conditions? No? That's because it's looking at a different angle. It's about the same thing, but one is the absence. So some people may understand it with the word absence better, like it's not here. It's not here. But someone understand it better with the word disappearing. So it discontinued or disappeared. So absence and disappeared is like a different angle of the same thing. It's a different way of saying the same thing. So these two conditions, they are basically the same. So, but with a different wording or different aspect, because at the time of the Buddha, there are people who understand something touches each of us in a different way. Some words are more go to the point for someone, and some other words goes more to the point for some other people. So therefore, the Buddha explained it in two different ways. Now, in the same way, the last one, the Avigata Paccaya, is actually similar to the Atthi Paccaya. So the non-disappearance condition and the presence condition is basically the same. If it is present, that means it is not disappearing, right? But someone understand it better by way of Atthi, by way of presence, like it's here. But someone understand it better by it is not disappearing. So it is not going anywhere. So in this way, it is called the Avigata Paccaya, non-disappearance condition. So as long as the Paccaya do not disappear, the Paccayopana can continue to exist, or it can arise. So as long as the flame does not disappear, light will continue in that way. Okay, so an example being given by the ancient teachers, it is compared to the ocean where sea creatures delight, sea creatures lives. As long as the sea exists, sea creatures can continue to live in the ocean, no, in the sea. So without, if the sea disappeared, then the sea creatures cannot live. So it must not disappear in order for sea creatures to be there. So the Paccaya must not disappear in order for the other Paccayopana, for the conditioned states to exist. Okay, so the verse here in the Paccayaniddesa is actually the same, exactly the same as the Atthi. So with this, we have also finished the Avigata, the non-disappearance condition. So with this, we have finished all the 24 conditions. Congratulations, everyone. We have looked at the 24 ways of how ultimate realities relate to each other. But remember, the conditions, these 24 conditions, they do not work alone. They work together in groups, right? So for example, when there is Atthi, then the Avigata must also be there. Non-disappearance and presence must be together, no? And sometimes they have Sahajata, we have seen already, right? Sometimes they arise together. And then sometimes it is also an Aramana. They are, that must be Purejata, no? So it can be, let's say Purejata, if it is if it arises earlier, then it can also be an Aramana, right? So in this way, in different situations, different groups, these conditions, they work together, not only one condition for any specific situation. So all the conditions, they work in group in many different ways, in many different combinations. That is how the reality, what we are living moment to moment, this is how all these different ultimate realities are related to each other. So that's the conditionality that are being explained briefly, very briefly in the Abhidhamma Sanghaha. It is actually, we can take it as just an introduction to the Patthana, because Patthana, as you all know, is the deepest teaching, even in the Abhidhamma books itself. So it is, it has the biggest volume among all the Abhidhamma teaching in the 9 books of the Abhidhamma. So this is just a very, very brief introduction for us to have a little taste, to understand what are the 24 conditions that the Buddha talked about. And later on, with this introduction, then if we're interested, we can go into deeper study. We can study the Paññavāra, the investigation chapter of the Patthana, and there are a lot of deeper information that then we can continue to study later on if we are interested. Okay, so here we have finished the 24 conditions as an introduction. Now, since it has been for some time already, then we might not remember everything. So it will be good as a closing of these 24 conditions, then we take a look, a brief summary of each of them. So we refresh our memory of what we have looked at, which 24 are they? And what do they do? Yeah. So there are some graphics that I found. I think they are Burmese graphics being translated into English. So it's very nice with some drawings, and there are some words on it as well. So we can read this graphic together as a refreshment or as a summary of these 24 conditions. Okay, so the first graphic here, it actually explains what is a Paccaya or Paccayo, no, Paccaya. So it's only a grammatical difference here. So never mind about this. One is a nominative case. So Paccayo and Paccaya, well, both of them, it means cause. it functions as a condition. So the paccaya is a conditioned, something that conditions something, no? Now, as a cause or as a condition, there are also different way of how it functions or how it can be a cause. Sometimes it can be a producing cause, sometimes it can be a supporting cause, and sometimes it's only does a maintenance, so it's maintaining cause. So let's see. Some causes, they are like from a seed, a tree sprout. So the producing cause that is making the unreason effect to arise. So that means it produced something. There was nothing there before. So there was only a seed. So from this seed, a tree sprout, right? So this is called producing cause, one type of cause. Then another cause can be a supporting cause. So, or a supporting condition. What does it do? So it is keeping the arisen effects well established. So it helps something that is already there, the sprout that is already there continues to grow. So in this way, it supports, this cause or this condition supports something that is already there. It does not directly produce it, but it supports something that is being produced by other things. Right? So this kind of support, this kind of condition is called supporting condition or supporting cause. And further, there are also another one that is just doing some maintenance, maintaining, it increasing the existing effect. So something produced, some cause produced the result, and then some causes support this result to support this effect to be well established. And then some other causes increase the existing effect. The effect already is there, it already exists, but it helps it, like the grown-up tree is prospering. So this cause helps it to become stronger and stronger. Something that maintains something that is being supported by something else and being produced by something else. So causes can be in these three ways: it can produce, it can support, and it can maintain. Okay. All right, let's go to the 24 conditions now. Now, the first one that we have looked at is called the hetu paccaya, root condition. So let's, there are quite a lot of words here. We can read through it together slowly to remind ourselves what it was about. Root conditioned. Condition that fortifies its conditioned state, like the main root of a tree. So the paccaya fortifies, make it stronger, make the paccayupanna stronger, like the main root of the tree, keep the tree strong, right? Then now we have studied before that there are 6 kinds of roots. We have lobha, dosa, moha, greed, hatred, delusion. That is the akusala roots. And then we have the beautiful roots as well, alobha, adosa, and amoha. Non-greed, non-hatred, and non-delusion. So these are the 6 roots, no? So let's see what it says here. Conditioned by 3 unwholesome roots, the akusala hetu, lobha, dosa, and moha. The non-hatred, so these 3 serve as the unwholesome root that supports the unwholesome chittas. No? So those akusala chittas are fortified, are strengthened by these 3 akusala roots. Now, on the other hand, conditioned by the 3 wholesome or 3 beautiful roots, the alobha, adosa, and amoha, they strengthen the beautiful chittas just in the same way as the unwholesome akusala roots strengthen the akusala chittas. No, so non-greed root, lobha hetu. What is it? For example, disinterest in worldly objects, in court of sensual pleasure. And how about this one? Non-hatred root, dosa root, like gentleness, amity, benevolence, friendliness, and patience. And then the non-delusion root, amoha, is seeing things as they really are, penetrating knowledge, illuminating wisdom. So these are the roots that strengthened their associated chittas. Yeah. Okay, so that is the first condition, hetu paccaya, that we have studied before. Okay. Any question? All good? So remember, paccaya here are the 6 roots, and the paccayupanna will be those chittas that are associated with either, with these 6 roots. So it's strengthened. It served as a condition that strengthened the related chittas. Yes, Edith?
So previously you showed the Paccaya could be supportive, maintenance, and cause, right? Producing.
Producing.
So what would head to Paccaya for? Would it be producing?
No. Had to. I mean, greed cannot produce a greed produce. Greed cannot produce an akusala chitta. No. Remember, greed itself is a cetasika, right? What produce okay, so let's see. If it is the chitta that is associated with the three roots, unwholesome roots and the three wholesome roots, they themselves can be ama, no? They themselves can be a cause, a producing cause that later produce result, right? So now here we are talking about how this specific cetasika strengthened the let's take akusala chitta. Let's say loba mula chitta as an example. So this greed cetasika, this loba cetasika, strengthened the loba mula chitta that it arise together. They are sahajata. They arise together at the same time, right? So in this loba mula chitta, this loba strengthened this chitta, makes it very strong. And then it itself becomes a karma, becomes a cause that will produce result later on, right? So, but this greed does not produce the chitta. They arise together at the same time. So they are not of this kind of relationship that produce something here, because they arise at the same time, right? Now, if we talk about, let's say, non-delusion, let's say wisdom. So if wisdom that is associated with a kusala chitta, let's say, then in that case, that kusala chitta itself later on also become a producing cause for some kusala vipaka to arise. Yeah. So, but still, this wisdom does not directly produce that wisdom associated chitta, no, in this case. So the relationship is a little bit I think we cannot include it into the producing here. The chitta, I think this Greek cetasika or these roots, let's say the 6 roots, it supports or it strengthened the Paccayupana, the conditioning state. They are more in this kind of relationship.
Yes, thank you. Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's go to the next one. Aramana Paccayo. So object condition. Conditioned as an object of the conditioned states. So Paccaya is the object of the conditioned state. Paccaya is the object of the Paccayupana. So it is compared to a walking stick, a clothesline, or a rope. No? So depending on these 6 classes of objects, the aramana, chitta, and cetasika arise. So what kind of chitta, cetasika arise? Kusala, akusala, vipaka, and kriya, all kinds of chittas must always take an object. So the 4 classes of chitta are all included here. So like a handicapped person or crippled or blind person needs support. A cane needs a cane or a strong rope line in order to move. In the same way, chitta always need an object for it to arise. And what kinds of objects are there? We have rupa-ramana, a color or visible object, sound, smell, taste, tangible object, and mental object. So these objects are the Paccaya, and those or the chittas are the Paccayupana. They are related to each other by way of object condition. Okay, so object also very important, no? Because all kinds of chitta must take object. Without object, no chitta can arise. So this is a very important condition also. Okay. The third one that we have seen is the adipati paccaya. Now, predominance conditioned. That paccaya that predominates over the paccayuppana, like a great top leader. So being under powerful universal monarch, lower level kings obey him. When one adipati predominates, the other states become the followers. So there is only one adipati at a time, right? So which are the adipatis? We have 4 here. Chandadipati, desire or strong aspiration. Viriya adipati, energy, effort. Chitta adipati, keen, strong consciousness. Vimamsa adipati, which is wisdom itself, investigation, sharp and powerful knowledge. So these 4 can become an adipati. When they are strong, it can become an adipati that conditioned its associated chitta and cetasika that arise together, no? Just like a powerful king, no? Okay, so that was the third paccaya that we have seen. Then we have the next one is the anantara paccaya, proximity conditioned. The paccaya precedes its paccayuppana, like an immediate succession to the throne by a crown prince upon the death of the universal monarch. So the king passed away, then the crown prince, the next one, immediately become the king, right? So the earlier consciousness, chitta, have to perish for the next chitta to arise. So anantara means one next to each other, no proximity, just one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. This one is important to understand that there is no gap in between the two. After one arise and cease, immediately the other one arise. Okay. Now here we have the 5 natural laws here, the niyamas. You might have heard of it before or might not. There are 5 kinds of natural laws. That we have chitta niyama, the law of mind, udu niyama, which is about temperature, natural law of temperature, bija niyama, the natural law of seeds, organic things, karma niyama, the law of karma, then dhamma niyama, the law of dhamma. So these 5, why is it mentioned here? It's because because of chitta niyama here. Now, chitta niyama, it refers to there is a specific law and order of how chitta arise. Like in the mental process, after Chakku Vijnana, let's say after eye consciousness, then receiving consciousness and investigating consciousness arise, right? Then the mind or Vottabhana will arise, determining, and then it will then jhavanas, no? So they have a specific order. They cannot jump. Like after Chakku Vijnana, after eye consciousness, it cannot immediately jump to jhavana, right? Because the natural process doesn't work that way. So you have to go through a natural process. How chitta arise, they have a specific order. So this is called the chitta niyama. So it is mentioned here because we understand what arise right after the other, the anantara, which one follows, what chitta follows what chitta. There's a specific law of chittas, of mind there, chitta niyama. It follows this law of nature. So it is mentioned here because we need to understand that there is no creator can prevent or create. It is not possible. Cause and effect occur according to the fixed order. After universal monarch dies, a crown prince becomes the king. So after Chakku Vijnana, then definitely receiving consciousness arise according to the law of nature. So that is how things work. So one after the other, one after the other. That's the proximity condition. Okay, so the next one is basically the same as the previous ones, Anantara and Samanantara. Here we want to emphasize the contiguity condition. So immediately after the other, absolutely no other kind of ultimate reality in between of 2 chittas. One arise and the other one immediately arise, nothing in between. So this is specifically important for Chuti and Patisandhi. After death consciousness arise and pass away, immediately rebirth consciousness will arise and pass away. So there is nothing in between 2 lives, in between 2 chittas. Of course, Cakkhuviññāṇa and receiving consciousness is also the same in the same way that it arises one after the other. Patisandhi and Chuti also arise in the same way, one after the other. So this is the example being given here is just like an emperor. Now this time it doesn't say that he passed away. So the emperor became a monk and a forest dweller, enables the treasured son to become the king. The preceding chitta and Cetasika supports the following consciousness and mental factors to arise with no gap in time. Immediately it will arise. Okay, so this is also about the mental processes. The fifth Paccaya condition, Samanantara, contiguity condition. Okay, then we have also studied the Sahajata Paccaya, co-nascence condition, born together. The Paccaya Paccayuppāna, they born together, like the light which comes into existence as soon as a lamp is lit. Fire and light, none of them arise first, right? The fire and the light support each other, support and depend on each other. So in ultimate reality, what kind of phenomena, what kind of ultimate reality are in this kind of relationship? For example, the four mental aggregates, Arupino, Khandas, Nama Khanda, which are Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, feeling aggregate, perception aggregate, formation aggregate, and conscious aggregate, they always arise together and mutually support one another. Sahajata. So this is one of the examples of these four, how they arise together and support each other at the same time. So this is arising together. The next one that we see is the Anyamanya Paccaya, mutuality conditioned. So Paccaya reciprocates with the Paccayuppāna, like a stool with three legs. So this A supports B and C, and this B supports A and C supports A and B, like that. In the same way, a stool which has only two legs will fall down. No? To stand upright, it needs the support of another leg. And the third leg and the other hand is also supported by the first two, on the other hand. So what kind of ultimate reality support each other in this way? Four great elements, right? The four Mahabhuta, they always arise together and mutually support each other. And then also the four mental aggregates also. And then especially at rebirth moment, Patisandhi moment, the mind, Chitta and Cetasika, Patisandhi Chitta, also with heart base, they also mutually support one another. Right? So these are the Anyamanya Paccaya, the mutuality condition. This is another condition that we have studied. Okay, so let's go to the next one. Nisaya Paccaya, dependence condition. It is a condition that supports Paccayuppāna. Paccaya supports Paccayuppāna, like a tree depending on the earth as its base, as its base support. Like a tree grows in dependence on the earth as its base. In the same way, a sixfold consciousness depends on the six bases, and the great elements depend on each other. So mind and matter, no, both of them not together, but they have both of them falls into this Nisaya Paccaya dependence condition. For example, the sixfold consciousness, let's say I consciousness, must have I base, no? So I base is a support, right? So in the same way, all other chittas except the five sense consciousness need heart base, right? So it's base for it to support, like the earth that supports it, no? Now the great elements also, the four great elements in terms of metta, they also support each other in this way. They are also in the Nisaya Paccaya dependence condition. They depend on each other. Okay, then we come to the Upanisaya Paccaya, strong dependence conditioned. The Paccaya strongly support its Paccayuppāna, like rain supports a tree. A tree growing on the ground becomes green when it rains. So in this Upanisaya, it's very wide. No? Remember that we have seen a lot of different examples here. Here, for example, it says Sada, faith or confidence, depends on the observance of the 8 precepts. So that means like the observance of the precepts, the morality, samatha, and vipassana meditation supports Sada, supports the growth of confidence or faith, confidence in oneself, in the Dhamma, in the practice, right? And also they support the rising of the path and the abhinya, the magga and abhinya also. So with the practice becomes a support for the arising of the enlightenment and also for jhanas and abhinyas, etc. No, we have also seen in this paccaya that how akusala can sometimes support other akusala, or kusala support other kusala. And sometimes akusala can support kusala, or kusala can support akusala. So all these kind of conditions we have seen in this Upanisaya Paccaya, right? And also temperature also, and how the people around us are also a very strong condition that influence us. No? So all this falls into the Upanisaya Paccaya category. Okay. Then we come to the Purejata Paccaya, pre-nascence conditioned. So Paccaya is born earlier than Paccayuppana, like pre-existence of the sun and the moon. Or before the children come into existence, parents must be there. No? Without parents, there cannot be children. So parents must be, pre-nascence must be there before. Now, it says in the beginning of the world, the sun and the moon appears, then later the living beings appear. So in the same way, sense object arise prior to the conditioned states. So let's say that there must be something to be seen before the eye consciousness can arise. We have seen today, right? So in the same way, sound, smell, taste, etc. also, no? So those are conditions that must already be there, so that it can support the conditioned, the Paccayuppana, Purejata. Okay, then we have Paccayata Paccaya, post-nascence conditioned. Conditioned, or the Paccaya is born later than the Paccayuppana. The example being given is like a young vulture longing for food. Now, for these vultures, it is said that as a rule, the mother of a vulture never brings food for its young offspring. The young vulture is longing for food. The offspring's volition for eating food causes his body to grow. So it is just the mind. The mind is so strong that it is longing, is waiting for the mother to bring food, but the mother does not bring any food actually. But the chitta are so strong that it sustained the body that is already there. So his body grown to a certain size, so later it can fly and get its own food. So it is like this. So those chitta and chittasika that arise later support something that is already there, this body that is already there. So that's the Paccayata Paccaya. Okay, then we go to Asevana Paccaya, repetition condition. The Paccaya that repeats the arising of the Paccayuppana. Now here, this Asevana, strictly speaking, it only pertains to the jhavanas. No, remember jhavanas arise 7 times in a row. So Asevana conditioned, then makes it become stronger and stronger. So previous jhavana chitta supports later jhavana chittas, making them stronger through repetition. Now, the example being given is like previous learning and studied text supports as a base for understanding and learning a new text. So when we are young, then first we have to learn ABC, right? After learning some ABC and then we learn some words, then it supports us, this basic learning supports us to later learn more difficult texts and to read storybooks and then read a text or read whatever. So previous learning, by repetition and repetition, it supports later learning. So this is the example being given. So by arising for continuously for many times, it makes the jhavana stronger and stronger. That's the Asevana Paccaya. And then we have Karma Paccaya, karma conditioned. Condition, so the Paccaya produced and stimulates the Paccayuppana, like tree growing from seed. When supported by water and earth, dependent on the type and quality of a seed, tree and plants sprout and grow. Until final cessation, parinibbana, kusala and akusala karma of every being support their experience of good and bad result of their deeds. So that's karma. Whatever we have done It supports our experience. Now, in this lifetime, we are experiencing both pleasant or unpleasant resultant or situations that is these are what we are experiencing is supported by the previous karma that we have done. So that's called the karma condition, karma paccaya. And vipaka paccaya is the resultant condition. So the paccayupana quietens the paccayupana. So it is compared to like a very cool and gentle breeze. The body and the mind of one who is resting under the shade of a tree feels cool and rest because of a cool and gentle breeze blowing. So kusala karma give rise to kusala vipaka, and is associated cetasika. Now, unwholesome karma give rise to unwholesome vipaka and is associated cetasika. They are caused to arise by the force of the past karma. They don't have to make effort to arise, and therefore vipaka is itself is a result, right? So it doesn't need any effort in itself because effort is already done with the karma, no? So therefore it is compared to the very passive, very calm, and very peaceful. So these resultant mental aggregates relate to each other mutually. So chitta, vipaka chitta, and those cetasikas that are related, that are associated with this vipaka chitta, they relate to each other by way of resultant condition, and they are very calm and very gentle, and they do not require any effort because they are just result of something that is already being done. So this is the vipaka paccaya. Okay, then continue. We have ahara paccaya, nutriment condition. So nutriment condition, we have the paccaya sustain the paccayupana, like cross bracing that uphold and support an old house. Not being supported by cross bracing, an old house due to the wind and rain can fall down. In the same way, human and animals without material and mental nutriments cannot survive. Now remember, we have two kinds of ahara nutriment. We have food, eatable food itself is a nutriment, physical nutriment. And then we also have mental nutriment, which is phassa, cetana, and vijnana. This we have already discussed previously, but just as a reminder, phassa is here, sometimes we do not use the word exactly nutriment, because if we say nutriment, then it is very much related to like food, But remember, ahara, also we should understand it to be a special condition that produce something else, right? A special condition that produce something else. So phassa paccaya vedana, So phassa is a special condition for vedana to arise, for the arising of vedana. So therefore, phassa is a mental ahara, right? And cetana is a special condition for what to arise, karma, for rebirth to arise. So cetana is also a special condition. It's also called an ahara. Now vijnana paccaya nama and rupa. So vijnana cause cetasikas to arise. So it is also a special condition. It's also ahara. So in this condition, we have both food, physical or eatable food as a nutriment condition, as well as the mental nutriment also. That's ahara paccaya. Okay, and then we have seen also indriya paccaya, faculty conditioned. The paccaya controlled the state concerned with the state concerned with it. So paccaya controls the paccayupana by being a faculty, like ministers controlling their own departments. So indriya governing is not as powerful as the adhipati. So they are like a minister of education or minister of religion affairs, etc., but not like a king. So they can work together. So like there can be two indriya at the same time, but there can only be one king at a time, one adhipati. So what works with the faculty condition, such as Chakku Indriya, the eye faculty, ear faculty, etc. So there are 22 kinds of indriyas that we have studied. Two of them are the bhava-rupa, the sex matter, gender matter, controls over their respective area. They control their respective area. Eye control the the area of seeing, and ear, the area of hearing, etc. So they each do their own work, controlling their own department. So indriya pachayo. And then we have jhana pachayo. Jhana conditioned. So pachaya makes pachayupana to observe an object like a clear view achieved by looking from the top of a hill. When looking from the top of a hill, one can get a wider view. The higher one gets, the wider the view. Like when one is looking down the slope, he can see very clearly and distinctly. So contemplating closely the kusala, the jananga, then one can develop right view until that we attain nibbana. Now this jhana pachayo, remember, it is not only the 5 jhana factors, but it also include dosa also, no? Remember, because this jhana means looking at something very closely, no? So when we are angry with something, we also look at things very closely, no? So not only the 5 spiritual faculties, but also dosa is also there. So the wholesome ones and the unwholesome one is also included in this jhana. And in the same way, magga also is not only the Noble Eightfold Path, but there are also wrong path also, yeah? So anything that leads to somewhere, it's a path conditioned. So the Pachayupana leads to somewhere, it's a path to the Pachayupana, no? So right path reaches blissful destination, and wrong path reaches woeful destination. The one who follows the right path, that is the Noble Eightfold Path, the right view, samadhi, etc., will reach the blissful destination, nibbana. It leads somewhere. So this is the path condition. We have different path factors that we have already discussed about it previously. This is just a reminder to refresh that we have what kind of pachayas are there. Okay, let's continue. Sampayutta pachayo, association conditioned. Pachaya conditioned by associating with the conditioning state, like mixing the 4 ingredients of the chatu madhu. So 4 ingredients of the chatu madhus are the sesame oil, butter, honey, jaggery mixed together. They are so mixed together that one cannot differentiate one from another. Their tastes are so mixed so much that one is unable to differentiate them. Likewise, chitta and chetasikas, like vijnana, the 4 mental aggregates, vijnana, phassa, vedana, sanya, and sankhara, they're all so mixed together. They associate together, they arise together, and they are so together that it is very difficult to differentiate. When a chitta arises, we know that they have different characteristics. We know that sanya is perceive the thing, and vedana is the feeling, but we cannot exactly separate them, because they arise together and they work together. They are so together that it is impossible to separate them, because they are association. They are with this sampayutta pachayo. They are so together mutually. They arise together, dissolve together, have a common base, a common object. They mutually aid one another by being associated together. So they must all arise together and work together, and it's difficult to differentiate them. Now, the opposite, which is the vipayutta pachayo, is the dissociation conditioned. Now, it is compared to the 6 tastes, which is sweet, sour, hot, salty, bitter, astringent. They don't mix together. So these 6 different flavors, even though they do not mix, they support one another. In the same dish, you may find these different tastes together, just like even though rebirth consciousness, patisandhi, and the kamaja rupa, they arise together at the same time, at the same moment of conception, but they never mixed. Yet they support each other. But mind and matter never mix together. So this is very important, these 2 conditions, because it helps us understand that the difference between mind and matter. Mind and matter, they never mix together. Mind is mind, matter is matter. So Chitta and Cetasika, they arise together and they are so together that it is hard to differentiate them. But the Buddha explained about the different characteristics of different Cetasika and of the Chitta. So therefore we can recognize, we can understand them. But Rupa is something totally different. Rupa is Rupa, it's something else that never mixed with Chitta. So they can arise together just like at the rebirth moment, but they are never, I mean, we can always separate them, mind and matter. They are different. So this is Vipayuta. Okay, then we come to the last four, which we have looked at today, quite fresh in memory, I hope. Atthi Paccaya, the presence conditioned, like a high and a big mountain. Because of the presence of a big high mountain, there are green and lush forests. Because of the presence of nutriment, aggregates the aggregates do not disappear. Okay, so we have the Sahajata Atthi, Purejata Atthi, Paccayajata Atthi, Ahara Atthi, Indriya Atthi, the 5 groups of present conditioned. The co-nascence, pre-nascence, post-nascence, sustaining or controlling dhammas through their presence are a condition for other dhammas. So by being there, it supports other dhamma by being present there. So we have already seen this today, so I hope we still remember it. And then we have the Natthi, Natthi Paccaya, absence conditioned. So the conditioned must not exist. It must disappear or it must be absent in order for something else to arise. No? Like putting out the flame result in darkness. As soon as the flame of a lamp is put out, then darkness prevails. The arising, Upada, Titi, and Banga, arising, existing, and dissolution of a consciousness does not overlap with another. The absence of one allows the arise of another. So after one chitta arise, exists, and pass away, only after it passes away, another one can exist, another one can arise. It never overlaps. Okay, then we come to the last two, Vigata Paccaya, disappearance conditioned. So Paccaya must disappear before the Paccayuppana arise. So like setting sun give way to the rising moon. The moonlight can shine when there is no sunlight. After preceding consciousness and mental factors perish, the next consciousness and mental factors can arise. So the same as the Natthi condition, Natthi Paccaya. Okay, then we have Avigata Paccaya, non-disappearance conditioned. Paccaya must not disappear in order to support Paccayuppana, like the great ocean support the life of sea animals. The great ocean contributes to the happiness of fishes and sea turtles which live in it by non-disappearance. So the arising, standing, Upada, Titi, and Banga, the dissolution of one Dhamma overlaps with that of another, so supporting it by not disappearing. The Lord Buddha, with his omniscient knowledge, knew, saw, and expound deep and profound Dhamma. So this non-disappearance is like the Atthi condition. Basically, they have the same content. Okay, so with this, we have very quickly gone through the 24 conditions that we have seen in this period of time. And so this is just to refresh our memory. Then I would suggest also, like if you have time, to read this book that is called The Conditionality of Life, an outline of the 24 conditions as taught in the Abhidhamma by Nina van Gorkum. So this book is very interesting because Nina, she explain about the 24 conditions. Also sometimes she also quotes some suttas, and also she put some examples in daily life also. So it is very interesting that we can see how we can look at, or how we can spot these different 24 conditions in our daily life. So it has it is a good read. So if you have time, please take a look. You can find this online, or actually I have a PDF also. I will send it to the group so you can download from there. And okay, so that's all for today. It has been a little bit intense because in the last part we went through the 24 very quickly. But since it is a revision, so I do not explain again what we have already learned. Remember, this is only an introduction to the conditionality. So if you're interested, there are still a lot to learn about Patana and a lot to explore in books of the Abhidhamma. So I hope it served as a little introduction to the Patana, and then later on you can continue your study further. Okay, so I think we'll stop here today. And from next session, we will continue with the remaining section of chapter 8, which is about concept. And then after that, we will go into chapter 9, and that is all about Kammatthana. It's all about practice, about samatha and vipassana. And that is also the last chapter of the Abhidhamma Sangaha. So we are coming to the end. So all the previous information and now is wrapping up very nicely, and we are going to see about practice. Like that's the final step. No, so with all this information, now we go to practice samatha and vipassana meditation. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. So let's dedicate our effort for the attainment of Magga and Phala Jnana, and also we share merits with all beings. Itam no punyam Magga Phala Jnana sampacheyo hotu. Itam no punyam Magga Phala Jnana sampacheyo hotu. Itam no punyam Magga Phala Jnana sampacheyo hotu. Itam no punyam sabba satanam bhajima. Itam no punyam sabba satanam bhajima. Itam no punyam sabba satanam bhajima. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you.